I recently got off a call with a client of mine, and he's an agency owner. He has a team of 11 people, and it was funny because I realized that we had a shared common struggle around taking time off. He had this family holiday coming up, and he basically said that he couldn't properly switch off whenever he was away. And we ended up sharing stories about why we both felt the need to keep checking in, scrolling emails for anything important, checking if the team needed us, and generally making sure our business wasn't falling to pieces. And it reminded me of this really simple system that I put into my agency that gave me the ability to overcome the fear of actually switching off. And it allowed me to disconnect when I was away, but it also allowed my team to do the same. And I'm going to share that with you today on this video. So let's get into it. So there's 3 things I want to cover with you today, which is the first one is another way to look at this problem and to reframe it. The second thing is a tiny non-negotiable that really makes this work, in my opinion. And thirdly, why letting things break is actually better for your business. Okay, so let's start with the first one, which is allowing things to break. I said to this agency owner that there is another way to look at this. And I know that I've gone through it, and I think many other founders have, where you're trying to protect your business as much as possible. And that means that switching off when you're away isn't really the done thing, particularly when you're starting out. So if we flip this on its head and we look at it from a point of view of saying that it's actually in our favor to build a better business and to allow you to recharge your batteries, then switching off has to be the point, right? It has to be the end goal at least, because otherwise you're just going around in circles. You're kind of looping around every time you go away. You don't really get the rest that you need. And it's this kind of never-ending cycle. So by reframing it to say, well, do we want a better business? Yes. Do we want to be able to step away? Yes. Do we want to recharge our batteries and spend time with our families? Yes. Well, in order for that to work effectively, then we need to allow things to break. Instead of checking emails before we head to the buffet breakfast, or shielding our phones in the sun as we check Slack whilst ignoring your family or your children who are asking you to be present, we're not going to do that. We're going to allow things to break. And this will reveal so much about your business as to why it broke, what needs to be done, and how you can prevent that happening from next time. This is the continual improvement that we're trying to put into place in our business and our agency to make sure that every time we go away, this isn't happening. This is getting better and giving us more freedom in our lives. And it's that list of systems and choke points that you need to be able to fix things in your business and to get you, the founder, out of the day-to-day. It's all hidden in plain sight. You just need to let it play out. You need to lean into it. Okay, point 2 is consequences. And that we all know that people are going to bypass any guidelines that you put in, because when we get into a panic, when we need things done, often we break rules, right? We break rank and we just try to solve that problem, which in most instances is okay. Like, it's fine to be able to break a rule to get something fixed and to find a solution to something. But in this case, it's detrimental, because that sneaky message or the quick question, the thing that's going to get your team to make contact with you or someone else in your team is going to paper over the cracks that are part of your business. And that's what we're trying to avoid here directly. We want to make sure that there are consequences in place so that people know what happens if they break the rules. And that means everyone's on the same playing field. We're all kind of leaning into this kind of scary moment. And yet we know that on the other side, we're going to fix the problems that come up. And so those hopefully won't happen again, which means that everyone benefits. For us, those rules were that every person had to fill in a handover doc, and they had to fill it in good detail. And then we had like these 4 boxes. So we had urgent and important, we had urgent but not important, not urgent but important, and then neither urgent nor important. So effectively the Eisenhower matrix as boxes. And then in each box we'd have the method of communication and like preferences, and then also like what to do if you couldn't contact that person. So in our case, urgent and important, for me, this is for me personally, you could WhatsApp me or call me in the event that something urgent and important needs to be dealt with, i.e. for us, it was kind of like, this is quite an emergency in terms of what I have to deal with. So if you couldn't get through to me on WhatsApp, if you couldn't then get through to me by calling me, then you would defer to the owner of that task or a specific individual, knowing that sometimes it won't be exactly as I would have done, but as long as it finds a solution, we're all good. Now, that person can, of course, try to call you again and again and again. So if you're kind of off snorkeling somewhere for the afternoon and nobody can reach you, it's not to say that that person who's going to be taking charge of the situation can't then say, like a client, for example, can't say, look, I'm going to try and make contact tomorrow. Let's see if we can sort it. And yeah, most people are reasonable and they don't need things done right now. Okay, for anything that was urgent but not important, it would be done via WhatsApp or defer to the owner of that task if I was unreachable. So WhatsApp's good because it's async and I don't need to be disturbed in the moment like I would with a phone call, for example. So WhatsApp would be good for those things. For example, having things like two-factor authentication, right? So something needs to be logged into. It's not really important, but it needs to be done now. But the 6-digit code comes to my phone. So in that case, it's urgent but not important. Again, just something that's flagging in your business as a point to take note of. And again, if it couldn't come to me or if it couldn't wait, then it would be deferred to the relevant person. For anything important but not urgent, again, my rule was that it can wait until I'm back, depending on how long I was away for. But typically you're talking, 1 or 2 weeks for a typical holiday. And if not, it could be deferred to someone, maybe a manager in the team, someone who's responsible and able to deal with it if it gets more pressing. And then lastly, neither urgent nor important is something that can wait or just something that you can deal with. Like, you don't need to come to me, you don't need to escalate it. If it's something that's really kind of just get it done, you sort of use your initiative and just do your best. The main thing is that there are consequences for breaking the rule. So I mentioned the handover document and the code of comms, but we also made it really clear that if you broke the rules and sort of tried to bypass the process, there was going to be disciplinary action on the other side of it. And this is necessary because people will bypass the rules to try and get something done. Like, if they need something, it's not uncommon for someone just to send a quick message, ask you, say, have you got quickly 5 minutes? And before you know it, the rules just aren't holding for you or your team. And so the tiny little change of saying, look, if you break the rules, we're going to have words, meant all the difference, because now people knew that you were taking it seriously, and as a business everyone takes it seriously, and then things actually work to plan and how they should work. But they also know that they're supported if something comes up that genuinely needs your input or help. And lastly is the benefits of breaking, right? And if you're like me and most founders, you do worry about these things. You worry about the risk of losing clients or your business setting on fire and everything that you've worked hard for just ending in this kind of like unbelievable misery. And you always think that you're one step away from that happening. So, it's important to realize that there are benefits to things breaking as well. And for me, that's how you make change. That's how you make improvements, right? So if you don't make changes, if you're always there to backstop anything that goes on and your team are doing the same, you're never really sort of enjoying your time off. You're never recharging properly. And so people come back and they're just as tired as when they left. And it's the same for you. You go on holiday, and I know for me that I've done this before. I've come back from holiday and I felt like I needed more time off. So for me, it's important to lean into this and to understand the benefits that this can bring to your business. And I liken this to something like UAT testing. You're about to put a project live and you go through all of these tests to try to reveal all of the choke points and to reveal all of the snags so that you can go and fix them before you go live. And as you fix them, the project becomes closer to being completed. And in the same way, as you fix the issues that come up in your business just by switching off and disconnecting, you begin to gain confidence in your business, the systems and everything else that's working for you and your team begins to get stronger, especially when everyone's bought into it. So all this to say that you want to reveal the choke points and the snags so that you can fix them. And as you fix each one of these, you're going to gain confidence, both you as a founder, but also as a team. And this really helps you to not only switch off when you're on holiday, but just in general. Like, it helps you to switch off and step back because you're more confident that somebody else can make decisions when you're away. They can take their initiative and get the right outcome, which is ultimately what's important. It's not necessarily that they do it the way that you would do it, because that's unlikely and unrealistic. But as long as they get to the outcome that's required, it's all good. And so the more you do this, the more it's going to end up helping you to disconnect in other areas of your business at other times. And it's much easier to do this when you're not the bottleneck. So next time you or someone in your team takes time off, just give this a trial run. Just get your document, set your rules in place, set the consequences, and lean into the idea that if you let things break, you will come up with a list of things to fix. And if you fix those things, they're not going to break in future. It worked for me and my agency, and I have no reason to believe it won't work for yours too. And if you want an even easier way of understanding what to fix and optimize in your business right now, hit the link in the description. You can join my school group for agency owners. It's completely free. In there, you'll get access to a deep dive diagnostic that you can complete, and you'll be given a bunch of pointers on what you have to work on, where to focus your attention. And if you do decide to upgrade as well, you get literally a full roadmap and step-by-step plan on what to fix and in what order. Other than that, if you did get value from today's video, please don't forget to hit like, drop a comment if you've got something to say or any questions. Subscribe if you want more agency insights of a new channel. So I really appreciate it. And I'll see you soon on the next video. Cheers.